What is going on, guys? This is Xbox Architect here, and welcome to my channel. As you just saw, I'm going to be showing you how to build this gymnasium. It might look a little bit complicated at first, but actually it's super simple and shouldn't take a whole ton of time. So whether you're building a sports complex, a school, or even just a big mansion that you want a home gym for, this is the tutorial for you. So let's just get into it, and hopefully you enjoy. Alright, so to start off this build, we're mainly going to worry about the basic structure of the gymnasium and worry about the interior details a little bit later. But in order to build this main structure, you're going to need birch planks, red terracotta, gray concrete, white concrete, dark oak stairs, smooth quartz stairs, light gray concrete, red concrete, and sea lanterns. So as you can see, we have this rectangle carved out here, and that's basically the main footprint of this gymnasium. On the short sides to the left and right, those are 15 blocks, and the long sides top and bottom are 25. So make sure you carve out a rectangle 15 by 25. Those numbers are important. Just go ahead and double check a couple times. And once you do have a 15 by 25 block rectangle, go ahead and go over to either of the long edges. And on the fifth block from the corner, just go ahead and cut it out so that we have 4 blocks remaining to the corner. And do the same thing on the other side. And then we're just going to take away all this material in between what we cut out. And then we're going to continue to do this back until we have another small 4-block rectangle added on to the side. Sorry, I should say 4-block wide rectangle. We only want to go about this far back. Now at this point, what you're going to want to do is fill in this entire space with birch planks, and that's going to be your main flooring. So once you have that entire space filled in with your birch planks, we're going to go ahead and start building up the walls. To start that off, we're going to take red terracotta, and we're just going to trace around this entire outer perimeter and make that 3 blocks tall. Once we have our red terracotta 3 blocks tall, we're going to go ahead and right on top of that red terracotta, place 1 block of gray concrete. Now once we have 1 layer of gray concrete, we're going to go ahead and add 5 more blocks of white concrete. So go ahead and create a pillar in any of the corners that's 5 blocks tall, and that way you can really make sure that all of this matches up. And just go ahead and fill these in so that the white is 5 blocks tall. Alright, so now we have our wall structure built, and go ahead and double check, make sure it's correct, but as it sits right now, it should be 9 blocks tall total. Now the next thing we're going to do is create those bleachers. So we'll come into this indented portion on this long side right here. And not placing right on the edge, but 1 block inset, we're just going to create a line of birch planks going all the way across. And then moving back, we're going to go up 1 level and essentially create like a base for the stairs to be mounted to. And that top level should end right below the gray concrete. And then we'll take smooth quartz stairs, and we're just going to place 2 right on the edge on each level. Same thing on the other side. And then all this space in between, just go ahead and fill it in with dark oak stairs. Now the next thing we're going to do is punch out our windows. So coming to one of the short sides right here, doesn't matter which, we'll go ahead and cut out a 4-block square, 1 block from the corner, and 1 block above the gray concrete, and do the same thing on this side right here. And then 1 block spaced away, we're going to create the same 4-block square. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing on the opposite edge. And this should leave you with 3 blocks of space right in the center in between those windows. Now we're going to look at this one remaining long edge that doesn't have the bleachers. And again, we're going to create a 4-block square that's 1 block from the corner and 1 block above the gray, and do the same thing on the other end. And this time, we're just going to go back and forth and cut out more 4-block squares, except this time, we're just going to have them spaced apart 2 blocks instead of 1. Now, eventually, we're going to go ahead and meet in the middle. And again, we should have 3 blocks of space in between the middle windows. Alright, so now that we have all of our windows cut out, before we add in the ceiling, just to make things a little bit easier, we're going to add in all the striping on the floor. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to one of these short sides, and we're just going to start carving out this birch floor we placed. On the 3rd block from the corner, leaving 2 blocks before the corner, we're just going to cut out a line of 4 and do exactly the same thing on the other end. And then we're going to move in 1 and cut out 2. And then move in, cut out 1. Do the same thing, move in, cut out 1. And then cut out these 3 blocks right in the front. Let's go to the other short wall and do exactly the same thing. Cut out 4 blocks. And then 2. And then 1. And then another 1. And then 3 in the front. Now, let's go ahead and find exactly where the middle of the gym is. In this case, it's right there. And we're just going to create a line all the way across. And then on these, I guess, curved portions, right at the bottom of these 2-block cutouts, we're just going to create a line across. And that should leave 2 blocks of width on the birch planks that are already in place. Do the same thing on the other side. And the pattern should look like this. Now once you have that pattern cut out, all you're going to do is take your red concrete and fill in all the portions that have been cut out. Now once we have our floor striping done, we'll go ahead and add in the ceiling. So we'll take our light gray concrete and we're just going to fill everything in on that top level of where the white concrete ends. Now once we have our ceiling in place, we'll go ahead and punch out all the holes for our main lighting. So leaving 2 blocks of space from the white concrete edge on both of these corners, we're going to punch out 1 hole just like this. And we're going to do the same thing in all 4 of the main corners, again leaving 2 blocks of space before both of the white concrete edges. And then on this long edge right here, we're going to punch more holes, but leave 3 blocks of space in between each. And that should leave you with a perfect pattern just like this. And do exactly the same thing on the other line. And then at this point, once you have those cut out, we're going to find the middle point in between those 2 lines. And then again, do exactly the same thing all the way across. Now at this point, we can go ahead and fill in all those holes with our sea lanterns. And that is the basic main structure. So now at this point, we're going to go ahead and worry about finishing off all the interior details, but we will need a couple more extra blocks that we didn't already have before. So to finish off the rest of this build, you're going to need black stained glass panes, iron bars, black stained glass blocks, birch slabs, cauldron, white concrete, and smooth quartz slabs. Additionally, you're also going to want to have that sea lantern as well, so just make sure you still have that in your inventory. So the first thing that we're going to do here is take white concrete, and we're just going to fill in 1 more level below the ceiling, all the way across this little bleacher nook, I guess you could call it. And we want this edge right here to be flush with these walls. And then 1 block inset from the edge, And then 2 blocks away from where this small interior wall is, we're just going to cut out all the way through until you can see daylight, and do exactly the same thing over on the other side, and then find exactly where that center block is, and again do the same thing. Now that top level right there where the gray concrete is, we're just going to go ahead and place sea lanterns. And then below the sea lanterns, we're going to place black stained glass. After we finish that, we're going to go ahead and fill in these windows. So take black stained glass panes and fill in all of the holes cut out for the windows. Now, once we have our windows filled in, we're going to go ahead and create some cool ceiling trim just to be a little bit decorative, add a little bit more depth or spice to the build, I guess you could say. So we're going to trace all the way around the upper perimeter on the ceiling with our smooth quartz slabs. And then we're going to leave 3 blocks of space from these lights on the outer edge, and do the same thing on the other side. You should have a 5 block wide space in the center. And we're just going to take these smooth quartz slabs and go all the way across. Now what we can do is actually go ahead and build the basketball hoops. So on each of these corners in front of the sea lantern on the short wall, we're going to place iron bars just like this, and we're going to bring them down so that they're 4 blocks tall in total. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then once we have those in place, we'll take a black stained glass pane and add one right to the front of both of the iron bars, and then place one right in the center. That'll connect it. And then we'll take a cauldron and we'll just attach it to the bottom of that middle stained glass pane. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So now we actually have our basketball hoops. Now one thing you might notice is because our main lighting up on the ceiling is so much higher than the floor and everything down below actually gets to be kind of dark. And you certainly don't want to, interfere with the clean lines of the floor and have all this extra stuff in here to help light everything. So one trick that I discovered is placing lit blocks 2 below the floor and then putting a slab right over the top of it. So in this case, what we're going to do is any spots that are particularly dark on this floor, we're just going to go ahead and punch out a block and kind of create and map out where we want our lights to be in the floor. They can really be anywhere. You don't necessarily have to follow along exactly with what I'm doing, but you're more than welcome to. And then once you have a few holes punched out here in the floor, go ahead and delete the block right underneath and place a sea lantern 1 block below the floor. Now we're going to take birch slabs, and just so that it's flush with the top, we're just going to cover those holes. And now your floor is more lit up, you have more light down towards the bottom. Things are going to look a little bit more clear. And really, you have no idea that there are lights down there, which is great. I used to be building these gymnasiums and have to build, glass panels to try and match the wood floor. I'd put lights in these actual lines, and it just looked really stupid. So this is definitely a more clean way to do that. So really, at this point, the only thing left to do is add yourself an entrance somewhere. It really does not matter where you have this entrance. Obviously, if you guys are going to be placing this build in a house or a sports complex or school or whatever it may be, you're going to have different floor plan layouts, and really any of these walls besides the bleachers are free game. So do with that as you will. If you want to further decorate this to your own liking, or even if you don't like the red, you want to do everything in blue or green, that's totally fine as well. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this build. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope it works out well for you. And if you did like this build, please go ahead and hit that like button, and obviously also go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all the content I have coming at you in the future, including more tutorials and full building tours. And with that, thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.